How's everyone doing? Today I have a what didn't make the shelf video for you with 17 titles. There are some duplicates in here, and I know some people say, oh, it doesn't count if you got duplicates, but it still counts. I'm still getting rid of them from the collection. So that's what this is. What didn't make the shelf, aka the collection, and this is an all horror edition. And let me know if you've seen any of these titles and what you think of them, and let me know which one of these is your favorite, because there are sometimes movies that I enjoy, I just don't think I'll rewatch them again, or sometimes they're upgrades or things like that, and I do enjoy them. So for various reasons, I'm getting rid of these from my collection, but leaving those comments down below. And again, 17 titles, so this is a hefty lot to get rid of. Every month, I try to get rid of about 30 movies out the door, because I usually get that many in. So it's a constant ebb and flow. For a little bit, my rule was, if I get a new movie, for one, I have to get rid of two, because this is like not even half of my collection from what you see right here. There was a period where I want to say I'm right around 5,500 right now, but I had gotten under, I'd gotten around about like 5,000 movies. At one point, it was crazy. But yeah, I want to say the past 8 years, I've sold over like 9,000 DVDs and like 6,000 Blu-rays, something to that around there. I have an actual number that I was keeping track of, but a rate around there, which is mind-blowing to think about. And space is at a premium, so there's stuff all over the floor, stuff all around me. And let's go ahead and get into it, though. But yeah, I used to do a video like this way back in the day called, Keep or Toss. And that was just more of me trying to rationalize keeping certain things and asking your opinion. This one, I've decided I'm making the decisions. So let's go ahead and get into it. First up is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I didn't like this movie. I liked Pete Davidson. He was the best part for me. I actually got to meet him in my local comedy club way back in the day before he was on SNL. I think he was on, it was like a guy code, girl code show thing. So there was people from both. I think he was on guy code. I never watched it. But he was hilarious. I liked him for a while. And he's, I thought he was like the best part of SNL in the recent years. I don't think he's on SNL anymore though. But yeah, he's doing well for himself. There was some controversy out there with him a few different times, but he was really good in The King of Staten Island. He's really good in the characters that he usually plays, like he plays himself. So he's kind of like typecast for that, but I think in those roles he works well. And here too, I just thought this was really formulaic. We've seen things like this before, kind of like a murder mystery thing, but this time it's all, Gen Z, and it's really playing up all the different stereotypes to the nth degree. And it also has Amanda Steinberg in here, who I really enjoy her as an actress. But she kind of comes into this group of friends. She was in rehab, and the friends are like, why are you here? They haven't seen her in a while. And there's, kind of controversy there. And she brings her girlfriend, and everybody's kind of like, there's some drama elements there. And there's another character in here that, like, the girl invited to this hurricane party. And she didn't really know the guy that well. She's only known for like 2 weeks or something. But yeah, I just feel like certain elements were so predictable and formulaic. Even the twist, I was like, I kind of figured that out just because of how the characters are represented here. And I was thinking, like, you see the certain weapon that was used early on. I was like, let me guess. Because there's certain things, if you can pick up on certain things for sure in here. But again, Pete Davidson, I thought was really funny in this role. Kind of wish he was in it a little bit more, but I just don't think I could want to sit through this movie again to get to those certain parts that I thought were entertaining. I have seen, this was a, murder mystery thing that we've seen before, but with a Gen Z twist and, kind of comedic elements played up here, satirizing that generation and stuff. It just, I don't know. It was a bit much to sit through for me. It was like nails on a chalkboard at certain times, a battle of attrition to get through. For those couple bright spots for me, it was enough where I'd want to sit through this again. So this one's getting purged from the collection. I know a lot of people did enjoy this one. It just wasn't for me. And it's got that stupid Rotten Tomatoes fresh thing printed right on the slipcover. Rotten Tomatoes is just a trash rating site. I don't understand how that became popular. The only like really good popular, the best I should say, is IMDb for ratings. I remember somebody posting something, I can't remember what movie it was, and Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 8%, and that's just outlandish. There's no middle ground. That's like my biggest issue. It's either like a 90 or like a 10, something to that. And I don't know how that became. And it's so popular now. I can't fathom it. And especially where it's not even stickers anymore. It's printed directly on the case. Is it on the actual, yeah, it's on the Blu-ray too. So hate it. And, ugh. And this movie too. I feel like this is a perfect partnership, this movie with that logo, actually. Next up is Fall. Again, this is one that I felt was formulaic. When towards the end of the movie, I feel like you've seen certain things before, certain movies where they utilize certain elements and you can kind of see how it's going to play out with certain characters. I don't know. It actually was decently thrilling at times, but I just felt like it was too formulaic, too predictable. And I just wanted much more from it, especially in the very beginning. Like, you could tell how the different cast and characters were going to interact and how certain things were going to play out. Like, I remember the movie Descent. There's I feel like certain parts reminded me of that, like the different characters and, secrets are revealed and you could just see that coming a mile away. And I feel like a lot of these movies feel like they're smart doing this. And, oh, look at this twist. You didn't see that? Yes, you did. If you've got a brain and you've seen movies before, then you can figure these twists out so easily, and it just doesn't stand out. But it's basically about these kind of like adrenaline junkie friends. In the very beginning, the one girl's husband passes away from doing like climbing freeform like cliff, I guess, and then her other friend gets her. She hasn't done anything. She's drinking. Her dad's trying to get her to come out of her shell, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and the dad didn't like the husband. And then so basically her other friend comes along and says, come on, we got to do this, climb up this freestanding, it's 2,000 feet to the top remote abandoned radio tower. It's at one time, it was like one of the, fourth tallest structure in the US. And she's like a adrenaline vlogger. But I just feel like, they get stuck up there and fall actually. But there was some good tension, but it just didn't work overall. I just found it to be too formulaic, and I've seen other ones similar where it's using, different height elements and drama and mixing the thrills and the drama right there. And this one just doesn't hold up for me. But again, this is another one where I heard a lot of positive reviews for. It doesn't resonate for me though. Another one that this is going to be super controversial, Conjuring 2. I hate it. I thought it was utter trash. I thought this one was incredibly predictable. Just cheap jump scares, and like you walk into a room full of crosses. Let me guess, they're all going to turn upside down. You see somebody throwing a little or pushing a little toy into the wigwam thing. Let me guess, it's going to come back out. It's just so cliche, so many tropes. I thought this was the worst in the franchise, but I feel like I'm the only one that feels that way, because everybody, I would say the majority of people I've talked to say this is their favorite in the Conjuring franchise, which blows my mind. I know this is supposedly based on a British haunted house kind of story, which has been debunked, of course. I just feel like so many scenes in here just were goofy, and the scene where he's singing the Elvis song, playing the guitar, just felt out of place. And just, again, tropes, cliches, just so predictable, so formulaic, and jump scares, and it just felt so cheap. And I think a big appeal for this movie was the fact that it was based on a true haunting story, which, of course, it's ridiculous. But am I the only one who doesn't like The Conjuring 2? I can't wrap my head around it. The first one to me is by far the best. It's nothing new conceptually, but it's the best of its ilk. And that possession exorcism movie outside of The Exorcist. Exorcism of Emily Rose is another one that I think is really good. Last Exorcism 2 gets a lot of hate, but I enjoyed that one. But Conjuring 2 was poop for me. Dog poop. This is actually brand new, still sealed. So if everybody wants to, for any of these, if everybody wants to either A, buy them from me or do a trade, let me know. I'm open to trades too. I'm kind of picky, but at the same time, my Amazon wish list is super long. It's the same thing I'm talking about constantly, trimming down the collection, but my Amazon wish list is crazy. They keep adding new stuff, catalog titles, things I want to see. Next up is Hereditary. I love the heck out of this movie. For me, not only one of the creepiest horror movies of recent years, but of all time. And Midsommar, the follow-up, was not my cup of tea. Um, but yeah, this one to me, I love it so friggin' much. I know this is a very divisive movie, love it or hate it movie. Same thing with Midsommar, but I feel like Midsommar gets a lot more love. But this one is just incredible to me. And I've heard people say, oh, the ending's just a schlocky shock ending, and it's not. You can actually think about it and play into, you look past or you look back into it, and you can see certain things that are going to happen in the future and how certain things connect. It's not all spoon-fed, and there are some things you actually have to think about in this one, kind of like look into some details there. But it adds up and it works and it's incredible and it's a masterpiece for me. All-time classic and become one of my all-time favorites too. Only reason I'm getting rid of this one is because I recently picked up the 4K with the slipcover. I was trying to find the slipcover and I finally did. I paid a little bit more for it, but that's okay. There's people on eBay asking $80 for it. I remember like one of the lower priced ones, the guy was asking like 55, and I messaged him, would you go to, like 30? And he's like, no, the only other ones on here are, 79, 80, 75. I was like, yeah, but look at the sold listings. All these people can put whatever price tag they want on something, but they're not going to sell. And I said that to him, those movies aren't going to sell. Because if you look at the sold listings, they're all like $20 to $30 range. So no reply after I sent that. I even screenshotted the sold listings. No reply. So I ended up paying, I want to say like $32 for it because that was the cheapest I could find anywhere, and I jumped on it. So for the 4K slipcover, I will show that soon in an update, but love this one. Only reason I'm getting rid of it is because of an upgrade. Same thing with this one. I got the lenticular slipcover version now, and this one, it's a mixed bag. Survival of the Dead right here, George A. Romero. Let me know what your favorite Romero film is. Martin is finally getting a Blu-ray and 4K release from Second Sight Films over in the UK, and 4Ks are region free, so people over here in the US can pick that up. No release date yet. Martin, I saw it once way back in the day when I was younger, and I don't remember loving it. I remember like the ending looking kind of cheap, the effects there. I know like Savini's a master, but not everything looks great. Even the burning, I remember some of the effects that the raft scene, people were raving about that. But certain scenes to me just looked so cheap to me in that, like the neck and the fingers and certain things. I was like, that doesn't look great. Even if you are a master, sometimes not everything you do is great. But I digress. I know Martin has a big fan following. I'm surprised it's taken this long to get a release, and doesn't have a release here in the US on Blu-ray or 4K, but maybe it will. I feel like a lot of times you get a release over in Australia or the UK, and I ended up picking it up, and then a couple months later we get over here announced in the US. Like I just picked up Belly on Blu-ray, and then literally the next night it's announced on 4K. I feel like that happens so often. But this one, again, George A. Romero is just, a master for sure. But I don't know, this one, I liked certain elements of it, and then the ending, I wanted more from that. I do like the whole post-apocalyptic zombie aspect that he's so well known for. The original Dead trilogy is all-time classic for sure. But yeah, I feel like he has some underrated ones out there too. This one, again, mixed bag for me. I still enjoy it overall, even though there's certain elements I feel like can be improved upon, especially the ending. But I do have now the lenticular one. And it's interesting because I think some of these are at the Dollar Tree now too. So it's funny because I paid a little bit more for the lenticular one, and now they're showing up at the Dollar Tree. What can you do? Next up is Panic. This is also known as Satanic Panic. I ended up getting another copy of this one, and this has a nice like foily effect. It's probably not picking up quite as much on there. I like the slipcover a lot. Ruby Modine is in here, daughter of Matthew Modine, Rebecca Romaine, Jerry O'Connell, and Haley Griffith. She's actually I like both the young leads in here, Ruby Modine and Haley Griffith. I thought they're actually really good in here. It's basically about this pizza delivery girl, and she goes to this like swanky rich area, and she accidentally falls upon a satanic cult, and she's a virgin, and they're gonna try to sacrifice her, and she's fighting for her life. And there's a few other recognizable people in here, and it's quirky and it's kooky, and it's got some good gore effects, and it's got some fun elements, but it's also a bit of a mixed bag. I definitely wanted more from the ending. I feel like it kind of just fell apart at the end. It's like all this lead up and then just drops off. But I still think this is definitely one that I plan to watch again and keep in the collection because it's a fun ride. I do think it could have been improved upon, but Still decently entertaining, but I have another copy of this one now. Next up is Discovery of Witches. I have another copy of this one too. I haven't seen this show at all. It's basically the trilogy right here. It's the 3 seasons, 25 episodes, 6 discs, over 80 minutes of bonus features. I like the people involved here. That was one of the draws. I'm more movie than TV show, but if it's like a horror TV show, this is witches and demons and vampires and stuff. This includes a collectible bookmark, and it's a little bit taller than, it's, I guess, like the shape of a book, but you can still do the shape of a book and still have the regular standard Blu-ray size. But it's the design of it, you can see it, the way that wraps around to the pages. But I like a lot of the people involved here, and I'm trying to find the people's names. Sometimes it's so like minute, the writing on here. But Matthew Good, and then Teresa Palmer, who I remember from Warm Bodies, and then Take Me Home Tonight, which is a really good like 80s kind of like throwback comedy movie. But she's been in a bunch of stuff, but I think she's absolutely stunning and talented. And I'll check out anything that she's in, basically. But this sounds like an interesting TV show. Only reason I'm getting rid of this one is because I have another copy. I bought like a big pile of movies from a local seller, and there were some things in there that I already had, but they have it like priced out, and I don't want to, try to pick and take things off because it's a good deal. So sometimes I'll pick up stuff to resell or for trade bait, and that was the case here. So next up is Censor, which I haven't seen yet. This is Censor and Jeepers Creepers Reborn are both releases from the UK. This is a Second Sight, and this is 101 Films, but they're both Region B locked. I used to have a region-free player. I don't anymore, and I don't know if I'm going to pick it up because I also feel like that opens up a whole gateway. Region-free players are just a gateway for collectors, and I feel like I would spend so much more money and get so many more titles and get spaces at a premium. So I kind of don't want to do it to pick up a region-free player. My region-free player just stopped working, and I feel like I have some other players in the house too, and I feel like they're starting to get a little, have errors here and there, so I might have to upgrade everything right now. But yeah, so I don't have a region-free player, and I haven't seen either one of these yet. I've heard Censor is great, basically about like a film editor working on video nasties and stuff like that. So yeah, I've heard great things about this one. So yeah, Film Censor, this character right here. So definitely looking forward, and she kind of like loses her mind, it sounds like, and it sounds like it's going to be crazy and over the top. Again, I've heard great things. I know there's like a limited edition version of this too, but this is actually a nice looking edition too. You've got the 2 discs right there. So My Own Nasty, I guess that's some of the special features. They're penning a nasty, obviously Video Nasty is an ode to that. But and then Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Honestly, I love the first Jeepers Creepers movie. I hate the director. Thankfully, he's not involved with this one in the franchise anymore. Again, the first one's incredible to me. One of the best American horror movies of the past couple decades. And then the second one, I still enjoy. I don't like it quite as much. I actually got to interview Ray Wise before, a phone interview for one of his movies. It was one of the first bigger, celebrities I got to do an interview with, which was really cool. It was a short interview, but still, I appreciate the opportunity there. But he was in Jeepers Creepers 2. I know a lot of people actually like Jeepers Creepers 2 more than the first one. Jeepers Creepers 3 was terrible. It should have been just called The Truck. And then I've heard this one's terrible too. And then, initially Cathedral was going to be the third one. And I was looking forward to this one, but then I saw the look to the creeper and some of the acting, and I was less intrigued initially. But now I got this before it had a US release, and now it has a US release. So I'll probably end up checking it out, but I'm not as enthused as I initially was for this one. But again, these are both Region B locked. This is a really nice edition if anybody's interested. I think like the US version of this still goes for like $28-30 or something crazy. So I'm going to wait. If it's on some kind of streaming service, maybe I'll check that out first. That's like the only thing that I will do for streaming usually. I'll do like a blind watch if it's available on there. And then if I like it, I'll pick it up on physical media. I'm always going to be physical media for life because, again, a lot of times, things come off of streaming, they lose the licensing rights agreements, and sometimes they'll take things down completely if somebody involved with the film does something bad. Cancel culture. And then also too, they'll take stuff and edit stuff or put referendums and all kinds of things like that. Picture quality isn't going to be as good, so I'm always going to be physical media for those reasons. Next up is The Cursed, and this one is interesting. Kelly Riley's in here. I'm a big fan of Kelly Riley. She was in Eden Lake, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. Love that movie so freaking much. Michael Fassbender's in there too. Reminds me of old school Wes Craven, like Last House on the Left. I love the ending. It's a punch in the gut. Doesn't hold back. It's not a happy Hollywood ending. I know a lot of people hate the movie for the ending, but I feel like it's so fitting for it and elevates the film even more. Definitely check out Eden Lake. It's raw, dirty, gritty, nasty, just awesome. And she's also in Yellowstone, which is one of my favorite TV shows now. Love the heck out of that one. It's definitely my favorite TV show that's on currently. But yeah, basically this is set in I don't know what year, maybe 1700, 1800, something like that. It's a remote country village is under attack by some kind of creature right there. It looks like a vampire, but the teeth look a little kind of like fake-ish. I don't know if maybe it's a werewolf. It could be a werewolf, right? Transformation. But yeah, villagers spread rumors of a cursed land, supernatural forces, demonic creatures. So people are getting killed and disappearing. So a pathologist is sent there to investigate and try to find out what's going on. Haven't seen this one yet. Have a duplicate of it. So there's a bunch in here that I have duplicates. Some that I'm just getting rid of because I don't like the movie. Some are upgrades. Crimes of the Future. I've got another copy for me too. And this, again, it's from Cronenberg, body horror. It's got Viggo Mortensen, Léa Seydoux, and Kristen Stewart. I wasn't the biggest Kristen Stewart fan, but she's been in a few things that I really enjoy. Personal Shopper is spooky and amazingly awesome and underrated. Highly recommend Personal Shopper. I don't want to give too much away about it. It's dramatically paced, but I feel like you get really engrossed and engaged in the characters. And I thought her acting was incredible in there. Underwater is another one that I was really surprised didn't get a 4K release. I really enjoyed that one. What was The Clouds of Sils Maria? I thought her performance in there was excellent, but then the movie just kind of falls off a cliff for me. But this one right here looks like some crazy body horror. Human species adapts to a synthetic environment. Body undergoes transformations and mutations. And I guess there's, all kinds of weird metamorphoses of organs and avant-garde performances. I'm not always the biggest fan of art house, avant-garde kind of stuff, but we'll see. I do like Cronenberg. Let me know what your favorite Cronenberg movie is. Videodrome's up there. I would say The Brood 2, the Fly remake. His son is actually a really good director too. Everybody was at a Possessor. Everybody talks about that one. But the movie before that, his debut, I think it was called Antiviral. Super underrated, high recommendation there. I love the societal take on that one. But yeah, this one I'm looking forward to. I heard a lot of mixed reviews for it, but the visuals are just creepy and incredible. And again, I've become a fan of Kristen Stewart now. I wasn't initially, but she's won me over with her acting. I haven't seen Spencer yet, but I do have that one. Let me know what you think of Kristen Stewart. I remember everybody was saying, like, she's so hot, she's so hot. I always remember her, like, with her mouth agape. Like, her mouth was just always open. Those mouth breathers. So I just feel like that was her look, and I wasn't initially into it. And then Personal Shopper, Clouds of Sils Maria, she was stunning in those movies too. So not just a fan of her acting anymore, I think she's gorgeous too. So I know there is, personal controversy and stuff too, but whatever. Nobody's perfect. I feel like I don't want to judge too much on, especially given, what other people have done in film or from different movies, Polanski, Victor Salva. Ugh. I feel like those things are unforgivable to me, especially in Victor Salva's case. Next up, I have 2 copies of The Nun and The Devil. This is a Twilight Time release, limited releases from 73. Looks like a nunsploitation. I don't know how much horror elements are in here, but I know sometimes nunsploitation movies have those. Sometimes it's psychosexual stuff, but also horror elements going on here too. It seems like this one might be more psychosexual related, but there could be horror elements too. It says, it stands out as one of the more noteworthy cinematic successors to Ken Russell's notorious The Devils. So haven't seen this one yet. Looking forward to checking it out. I have a copy for myself too. And these ones usually run like $30-35. So I figured I picked this up in a lot from a seller, and it was a good price point. I figure I can usually, I can resell those ones and make some money and almost pay for the rest of the lot on those ones alone. I've got 3 copies of They Crawl Beneath. I actually have a copy I'm going to do a giveaway for too. Unfortunately, I think the movie was terrible. It's like a low-budget version of Tremors. It's like, the graboids, the snakes that come out of the mouth. Those are like the creatures that are in here. There's like an earthquake and aftershocks and stuff, and the creatures come out of the ground. And it was the acting performances. Again, this is another one where I feel like they have some of the drama elements, the family and the cast interactions or the characters in there, and you can see how those dynamics are going to play out. Like it's formulaic. It's like there's all these little hints, and you can figure it out. It's not smart like it thinks it is. But there are Michael Parr is in here too, and he's only in here briefly. He was Eddie in the Cruisers. He's been in a ton of stuff, but yeah, I wish he was in here a little bit more. He's really the best part of the movie. His acting was good, but the storyline, the plot, the acting, especially from the lead, I wasn't a fan of the lead at all. It was rough to sit through. A battle of attrition, and he's trying to fight for his life and try to get help, and cell phone's dying. He's trapped underneath this car while these snake creatures are coming out and trying to attack him. You can see it right there. They look like the creatures coming out of the graboid's mouth. See it right there? A little bit. At first I thought they looked cool. That's probably one of the better parts of the movie too. Those creatures do look cool, the creature effects for them. But I kind of wanted a little bit more too. And that was like that and Michael Parr were the best parts of the movie. Everything else just bogged it down. The storyline, nothing really stood out from that element. And then what they tried to do with the different characters, I feel like you'd see coming a mile away. And then also the lead actor I thought was terrible. I just wasn't a fan. Sorry. You can't like everybody's performances. So I, had a copy for me. I had a copy that I have a copy off to the side. I have actually a few copies of different movies I have to do giveaways for. So I've got piles like everywhere. So I feel actually bad giving this movie away because I thought it was so bad, so terrible. But, no, not everybody, movie tastes are subjective. So maybe some people will enjoy this more than I did. And then I have a couple copies again for sale or trade. So look forward to a giveaway for that terrible movie coming up soon. I have other movies I want to do giveaways for too. But there we go. 17 titles, again, some ones I got for trade bait and resell. And then some ones that I don't have a region-free player anymore to watch them. And then some ones were upgrades. And then some ones I just didn't like. So a mixture of stuff here, a mixture of reasons why I'm getting rid of these, purging them from the collection. So there you go. 17 titles for What Didn't Make the Shelf, aka the collection. Let me know if you've seen any of these ones and what you think of them, and let me know which one of these is your favorite. And let me know, have you purged anything from your collection recently? I remember seeing a few people post, oh, I hate this movie, but I'm still going to keep it in the collection. I bought this movie. I'm never going to watch it. I got it for the slipcover. It blows my mind, that kind of mentality. I feel like that's more like unhealthy hoarding than actually collecting. I want to say everybody collects their own ways, but it's hard for me to wrap my mind around keeping movies you never want to watch again, or movies you think are terrible, or buying something you never want to watch or plan to watch. To each their own, I guess. It's just, again, hard for me to fathom that. If it's a movie I don't see myself rewatching again, it's gotta go. I've tried rationalizing certain things, like certain scenes or certain actors or directors involved, but if I can't see myself rewatching it, it's gotta go. Space is at a premium. And yeah, I want to pare it down a lot more, but it's difficult. I've hit that impasse. When you get rid of 9,000 DVDs and over 6,000 Blu-rays, it becomes hard. So there we go, though. I digress. Let me know all those things right there, all the questions and comments. Leave them down below. I like the interaction. Let me know what your favorite modern horror movie is. Again, I mentioned Jeepers Creepers, the first one, and then Hereditary too. Like the past 20 years or so. In the past 5 years too. I feel like there's been some really good ones. Let me know again for American too. I feel like there's been, there might be more international ones I've enjoyed in the past few years than American ones. But Jeepers Creepers is just a classic for me. I remember when I was in college, I was living in my fraternity house. This would be like the go-to date movie, the first Jeepers Creepers movie. I put it on, the girls want to snuggle and cuddle. Oh, I'm scared, Of course, everybody does that, right? But yeah, so that was always one. I remember seeing that one so many times. Still one that I try to watch every year or two. So love that one. And I feel like The Creeper deserves a better franchise than what it has. I think it's an iconic character. Same thing with Candyman. First, Candyman is an all-time classic, one of my favorite 90s movies. The recent one, I understand what people are divisive about it, but I still thought it was really good. But the second one was terrible. And then the third one was Day of the Dead with Donna D'Errico. She couldn't save that one either, but Dias de Muerte. But that was another just dumpster fire of a movie, and Candyman deserves a better franchise than what he has too. So hopefully Jeepers Creepers can rebound from Reborn, because I heard it was terrible, and then the third one was terrible. So again, I feel like there's a franchise out there deserving. That's one of them, Candyman 2. They deserve better than what they have, and there's fans of them. So there you go. All right, I'm wrapping it up. I hope everybody is doing well. Look forward to more of these What Didn't Make the Shelf videos coming up in the future, and take care.